Welcome to SATV News. This is Nouri Alamin with the headlines. ADB will provide a budget support at $500 million to Bangladesh for recovery, says the bank country director. Prime Minister leaves Dhaka for an official tour to the UK and the US to join the Queen's funeral and the 77th session of UNGA. SSC and equivalent exams begin at 11 a.m. instead of 10 a.m. considering the usual traffic jam in the peak morning hours. The Asian Development Bank ADB country director Edimon Ginting said that his bank would provide a budget support of $500 million to Bangladesh for economic recovery. He also said that the budget support would also support the government agendas to accelerate the implementations of policies on climate change. The country director made the remark following a meeting with Planning Minister M.A. Hannan today. Edimon Ginting also said the challenge is coming from the global uncertainty affected the economy slightly, but he thinks the country is managing it well. Following the meeting, Planning Minister M.A. Hannan said that he was very much pleased with the decision and the loan would be helpful to the rehabilitation of the flood-affected population. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina left Dhaka this morning for an official tour to the United Kingdom and the United States to join the funeral of the late Queen Elizabeth II and the 77th session of the United Nations General Assembly UNGA. A VVIP chartered flight of the Biman Bangladesh Airlines carrying the Prime Minister and her entourage member departed the Hazrat Shahjalal International Airport at 10:30 in the morning. The Prime Minister will attend the reception program for the head of the states hosted by the King of the UK and Buckingham Palace on 18 September. On September 19, she will attend the state funeral of the late Queen Elizabeth II at Westminster Abbey. At the same day, in the evening, the Prime Minister is scheduled to depart London for New York by the special flight of Biman Bangladesh Airlines. The secondary school certificate SSC and equivalent exam began today. The exams started at 11 a.m. in the morning instead of 10 a.m. considering the usual traffic jam in the peak morning hours. Moreover, the exams are being held for 2 hours instead of the usual 3 hours this year, and the duration of the MCQ exam is 20 minutes, while that of the written exam is 1 hour and 40 minutes. This year, some 20,21,868 students have been registered themselves to take the SSC and equivalent exams this year. As part of the schedule, the SSC and equivalent examination will end on October 18. Health and Family Welfare Minister Zahid Malik warned that the government wouldn't allow any negligence and immoral practices when it comes to the healthcare service in the country. He said this during her visit Rajshahi Shodor Hospital this morning. The minister also said that healthcare institutions who fail to provide services in a proper manner will not be allowed to operate. He also informed that the treatment of general patients, along with a new dental unit, would open soon in the Shodor Hospital, reserving the special arrangement for the COVID patients that were made during the peak time of coronavirus pandemic in the country. The minister also added that 40-bed ICU would be opened in Rajshahi Medical College Hospital soon after dealing with the manpower crisis there. Transparency International Bangladesh TIB Executive Director Dr. Iftikharuzzaman advised the Election Commission to resort legal reforms for creating a level playing field in the national elections. He made the comment while speaking virtually at a press conference on the occasion of International Democracy Day today. The Anti-Graft Watchdog Executive Director said that ensuring that all participatory election is the main challenge. However, the biggest area of concern is to create a level playing field for all parties. He also stated that the role of the Election Commission is crucial in the next national election. Khulna recorded the highest rainfall in the 4 years after the district received 146 millimeters of rainfall in 24 hours till the morning. The district recovered the highest rainfall in the 4 years triggered by the low pressure over the Bay of Bengal in Kula within 5 hours from 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. The low-lying areas of the district, including the Nirala, Mujguni, Boira and Prantika, went underwater following the incessant and the rains, causing immense sufferings of the general people. Meanwhile, the maritime ports of Chittagong, Cox's Bazar, Mongla and Paira have been asked to the lower cautionary signal number 3 with the threat of the form the finally subsiding. Bangladesh Bank introduced an installment facility to repay loans from the Export Development Fund (EDF). From now on, the entire loan liability can be paid in 3 installments, which had to be paid at one earlier. The Foreign Exchange Policy Department (FEPD) of the Central Bank issued a guideline in this regard today and sent it to all authorized dealers engaged in the foreign exchange transactions. According to the Bangladesh Bank directive, the exporters can partially repay the EDF loan liability. A maximum number of the 2 partial repayment can be made during the loan tenure. The circular stated that the remaining liability to be repaid in months go during the loan tenure. That means the exporter of the pay is entire debt in the 3 installment. In a bid to facilitate hillshop breeding, the government is going to impose a countrywide 22-day ban on the catching, carrying, preserving and selling the fish from 7 October. In an official notice published by the Ministry of the Fisheries and Livestock, it was said all kinds of procurement, transportation by sale and stock up has been banned from 7 to 28 October. Every year, the government imposes a fishing ban during the breeding season of hillshot to prevent the fishermen from catching egg-bearing fishes and decreasing the fish population. Viewers, we are taking a short break. Stay with us. Viewers, we are taking a short break. Stay with us. Now, news from abroad. Thousands of mourners were quarreling through the right to pay their respects to the Queen Elizabeth II as she lies in state in the Westminster Hall. There are long queues of the 2 miles along the south bank of the River Thames as people wait to view the coffin. Hundreds of thousands of people are expected to file past in the coming days. The Queen's coffin was brought in a procession from Buckingham Palace on yesterday with the Princes William and Harry, along with the King Charles III walking behind. The guns were fired in Hyde Park and Big Band tolled every minute in the somber ceremony. The Queen's funeral will be held on Monday, 19 September. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky visited asylum days after his country's troops retook in the city during an ongoing counter-offensive against Russian forces in the northeastern part of the country. Following the Zelensky arrival to asylum on Wednesday, the Ukrainian flag was raised in front of the burned-out City Hall building in the largely devastated town. Meanwhile, Russian missiles hit a reservoir dam near the southern Ukrainian city in Kiev. The residents in some areas were told to evacuate, but the situation is now under control. Ukraine that the strike was revenge by Russia for its recent counterattack. Meanwhile, the Ukraine said that it seized 8,000 square kilometers of territory in the country since the beginning of the most of the country's northeastern Kharkiv region. Armenia and Azerbaijan negotiated a ceasefire to end a sudden resurge of the fighting that killed 155 soldiers from the both sides. Armenia's Security Council Secretary Arman Dirzian announced the truce in the televised remarks, saying it had taken effect hours earlier on Wednesday night. A previous ceasefire that Russia broke on Tuesday quickly faded several hours before the Gregorian announcement. American and the Defense Ministry said that shelling had stopped but didn't mention any ceasefire agreement. There was no word from the Azerbaijan about the deal. Sweden's Prime Minister Magdalena Andersson said that she would stand down after the government was defeated in Sunday's election. Andersson's center-left, the coalition looks set to narrowly lose to a bloc of right-wing parties 176 seats to the 173 with 99% of the voted count. And the moderate party leader Ulf Kristersson is now expected to form a government. The final result is still to be confirmed after a recount, which is standard practice in Sweden. But despite this, Ms. Andersson accepted defeat at the new conference on Wednesday and said she would officially resign today. Now sports news. A late strike from the Fede Valverde and Marco Asensio allowed Real Madrid to maintain their 100% start to the Champions League with the 2-0 win over the RB Leipzig. It's threatened to be a frustrating night for the record 40-time winner and reigning champion until the Valverde finally provided the breakthrough, continuing his fine resume from the celebrating emphatically in front of the revealed Santiago Bernabeu after netting in the 18th minute. Substitute Arsenio that slammed home the second in stoppage time after Toni Kroos pulled a short free kick back to the edge to the box. They wrapped up the win and kept Madrid top the Group 6 on the 6 point ahead of the Shakhtar streak on 4.
Leaves it to the Austrian international. Vinicius set up here. Valverde's got a shooting chance. What it means to him.
Before ending, we go through the SATV news headlines again. ADB will provide a budget support of the $500 million to Bangladesh for economic recovery, says the bank's country director. Prime Minister leaves Dhaka for an official tour to the UK and the US to join the Queen's funeral and the 77th session of UNGA. SSC and equivalent exams begin at 11 a.m. instead of 10 a.m. considering the usual traffic jams in the peak morning hours. You are up to date with our top stories so far here on SATV, and to know the latest news, visit www.satv.tv. Stay with SATV.